In this video we're going to create a PDI panel using Affinity. So we've generated our three images, which are all maximum 1600 by 1200. We've done that before we start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Affinity. I'm going to create a new document, and I want that document to be 1900 by 1200 pixels. And then I'm going to drag each image onto the canvas. And when I do that, I can then put into the move tool and I can position it just the way I want it. Just want a little bit of a border around it, like so. We can actually tidy up the shape in a minute when we start masking things out. So now I want to drag one up to here, and every time you drag one in, as long as you drag it from the file browser, it will always put it onto a new layer. So there we go. And then we're going to drag the last one on. I can get rid of this window. So I've roughly got them where I want them to be, but not exactly. So now what we need to do is actually mask the images so that they don't interfere with each other. So we select each layer and we add a mask layer to it, and then we go into the selection layer and we decide what bit of the image we'd like to actually have. Now I don't want quite as much of this one. I'm just going to sort of trim it down a little bit to there, create a box that big, and then I'm going to go into selection. I'm going to invert the pixel selection. I want to make sure that I've selected black, and I'm going to find the fill. I'm going to fill that mask with black, and what that will do is that will fill everything apart from the original area I selected, but when I inverted it, it meant I'd get everything else. So now I want to do it for the other two images. So we've got this image on the top, so I'm going to create a mask there. Now when I create these, so I need to deselect first. When I create this one, I want it to come down about halfway. This layer, just move it out of the way a little bit. That mask is not looking good, so let's select the mask. Let's fill that mask with black. Should make it disappear. Let's change that over. Create a selection. Comes about halfway down. Gonna fill that selection with white. Good, brought that in. Right, select, deselect. Now I want to do the same here. Got my mask, which is white, so I'm going to make a selection, going to come down to the bottom of that image. Got to invert the selection. Got to get my font. Select black. And there we've got a mask that just shows that bit. Now I can start juggling things around. So when I go into the Move tool and I select a layer, this little thing comes up here, Lock Children. Now if we do that, it means that I'll be able to move the image but not move the mask around. So I can actually now move that around in my selection and resize it, make it bigger, do all sorts of things without affecting any of the other images. Now move to this one. I want to make this one slightly bigger so it fills the frame, and I want to position it where I want. Now you see I didn't quite get that mask in quite the right position. Doesn't matter. And finally, still got the Lock Children set, so we can move this one around, get it just where we want it to be. Which is about there. Right, so all we need to do now really is put a background colour on. I mean, you can retidy these masks up and things if you're not happy with them, but I'll leave that something for you to think about, to do. So I want the pixel layer that I'm going to create to go on the bottom, and I want to pick a colour that I quite like from the image. So I need to find the pen dropper, need to go over somewhere in the image like there. It looks a little bit too dark, maybe there. Going to select the image, going to hit the fill, and I'm going to fill the image. Now because of the masking effects, the only bits that show are the bits that aren't overlaid by the layers on top of it. So that gives us our nice image. And what we could do now is we can save it. So we call that, save it as an A photo first of all. And now we can export it as a JPEG. It's already the right size, we want best quality, everything else. Panel 1 JPEG. Let's have a look at it. So there's our A photo, and here's the panel we've just created. Let's bring that down so you can see it. There we are, so we've got border all around everything else. So that's how you create your panel in a photo. And obviously you can lay them out any way you like, vertically, horizontally. It's completely up to you, however you want to do it. Okay, thanks.